while you're touring and speaking to people?
Oh, just basically do a Q&A, engage with the audience. Because of the series, we know that they have a lot of questions, and so I try to get as much of them answered as I could. Yeah.
Right. Right, and the series has really brought you back into the national spotlight. I mean, maybe we can start there and talk a little bit about Sunday.
Yeah.
That must have been
yeah.
a pretty huge moment for you. What were you thinking when you stood up and the world got to see you?
About time. Because here we were, we 16 nominations, and we were losing. We weren't winning anything. And so when Jarrell wins, it restores the hope, right? It restores the faith. Like, we have a chance. We have an opportunity. Like, here's the one person who's going to win it for us. And he's going to carry all of us on his back, to the victory. And so it's at that moment, it's just giving him the ultimate acknowledgement, of what of a job that he did in portraying Corey Wise in the series. But let him know also that this victory is major because it carries all of us as a unit, definitely.
And watching the video, he acknowledged the five of you, and you stood up and you were on television.
Yeah.
Was that sort of a culmination of all of this, or what was going through your head at the moment?
Just cheering him on, just cheering him on and supporting him. And there's a little bit of like redemption for us. Like, here it is, like, because one win is a win for all of us. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of that also, the acknowledgement. Like, you see us, we're here, we're at the Emmys. We want to take this experience in and enjoy it while we're here, and win in the process. Right? That's what it's about. It's about winning and being able to hold up that trophy.
And was it a bit of a win in itself that it was getting such critical acclaim when the series came out before the Emmys even?
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. Just the acknowledgement of that you're nominated. 16 nominations is big. We some young boys from Harlem that, we never thought that we would be at the Emmys. And so even one of my hashtags is from a tweet to the Emmys. So definitely. Yeah.
And it started with a tweet from you, right? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I just I saw a film by Ava DuVernay called Selma, and watching that film, I wanted to know who the director was, and so I reached out on Twitter, and we started following each other, and then one day I just said, you know what, this would be the person that can tell our story, and so I shot a tweet, and she retweeted the tweet, and maybe about 30 days later, she DM'd me, and she asked, was I going to be in New York, because she was coming to New York for something else. And I said, yeah, we had dinner. And she asked, could she meet the rest of the fellas? And I knew, I said, that's it. We're on the road. Yeah.
If you don't mind going into it a little bit, in 2002, then is when you were exonerated. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like for you? Was it rough getting reacquainted into life, or did you hit the ground running?
No, it was definitely a process in 2002 because I was so institutionalized by that time. I had close to 13 years of imprisonment under my belt, and so I was so institutionalized that at first I was in disbelief. I really didn't think that we was going to get exonerated. I thought that they was going to make Matias Reyes the sixth man and sweep it under the rug, and so it isn't until after the exoneration that I get out, and I don't hit the ground running. I'm literally walking out, looking behind corners, because, I still haven't recovered yet, or still haven't fully healed from the whole case itself. So, that was a process for me. It took a long time for me to be comfortable, to be back out in society again.
What were the steps that you went through, if you don't mind sharing, that to get you to where you are today?
The awareness. Like, my dad was the one who points out to me, because I like to stay in my room a lot. My room was the size of a cell in his house. So that's where I found my comfort and my solitude, always being in the room. And he points that out to me. He's like, why are you always in the room? And it's at that moment that I start to acknowledge, like, wow, I brought some of these characteristics with me, these traits from prison. And then I start to look at that, and then I try to start to work on that. So you have that. You have also, like, me, I would be in the shower literally with my boxers on, right? Washing my boxers in the shower, which is, when people look at that, that's weird. But in prison, that's normal. I had this pent up aggression. I like to go on these long walks early in the morning because when you go to the yard, all you do is walk around the yard for hours. And so I would just walk these long blocks, 2 or 3 hours, and then come home. So all that stuff was stuff that I brought with me from prison. Yeah.
And even before the series, would you say that your life became a bit of a success story after that? I mean, I understand.
After
you have
exoneration?
clothing,
Oh,
yeah.
well, yeah. After exoneration, I mean, I worked. I managed several gyms in New York City at the time, and then I went on to work for a union, 1189 SEIU. I worked there for 5 years, and then it was then that I started to develop the clothing line, which has done extremely well. And then I started working on the series also with Ava, so stuff like that.
What was your role in the series? Were you a consultant or?
Well, you can say I was. I just didn't get the credit, and I understand why, but I didn't get the credit. But I mean, I was able to read the script before everybody, give input on the script. I was able to give a lot of details about certain scenes. We visited the scenes. We was on set regularly. I was even part of some of the editing process. I sat in some of the editing sessions where it was the coloring, the sound. I was able to see that process. So Ava was very transparent in letting us see everything of how everything was done. You know, all you had to do was say, I want to go, and she said, come on. She showed it to us.
And with having your say, can you give an example of something that may have not been quite realistic in the way it was written that you may have changed? Or?
Well, I mean, there's several things, but one of the things was some of the Corey's episode. I had some suggestions in that, and she took those into account. Yeah.
Right. Now, this is big news back in when it happened. But the exoneration, do you feel that? I guess it's this way to phrase it, that this may actually be the exoneration now that it's really gotten the attention, because you may have not quite gotten equal.
No, you're right, 100%. I mean, because when we were exonerated, it was there wasn't too many articles written about that. Even when the Ken Burns doc came out, a lot of people shot it down, said it was a New York story. Linda Fairstein said that it wasn't. We had litigation that was still pending, so you wasn't going to hear all the facts. And so now with this Netflix thing, it does feel like it's finally at that point where the exoneration is very real because it's acknowledged by the whole world.
And how has it changed your life?
Oh,
It's a big question.
I mean, I can't go anywhere anymore. Like, I mean, sometimes it can be hectic. I mean, it's not bad. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to experience because it's the love that people are giving you, right? But it has made it whereas, I can't go anywhere. Like, I can be on the plane, I can be at the restaurant, and people want to come up and take photos or just say hi. So it has changed our lives drastically.
Is that a good thing? Or is that
No, it's a great thing, though. It's a great thing. To be acknowledged and to be loved, by people who don't even know you. They just connect with the story. They have kids. They can see their kids, and it's for whatever reason. We were considered in 1989. We were considered the 5 most hated human beings on the planet Earth. In 2019, I think we might be considered the 5 most loved human beings on the planet Earth. We'll take it.
And how are you not bitter? You seem like a very happy person to me, or was it a process?
No, it's a process.
Yeah.
Definitely was a process, and I had to learn how to channel my energy into fighting against a system that didn't want to give us anything. And that's where all my bitterness and my rage and my anger, all that went into that. Putting in the work.
And I understand it's a packed house tonight.
Yeah.
No seats available. So for all those people who are interested in your story and they won't be able to attend, can you maybe give a few highlights about what you want the people who see your presentation to know, what you want them to walk away with?
You're missing something great here. hopefully next time you can get a ticket. I mean, you missed out. I mean, it's an awesome experience. It's going to be a lot of love in the room, a lot of different emotions in the room, and I get to experience it with an awesome group of students. So if you didn't get your ticket,
What's it like to to relive it for you though, every day on stage?
well, it's part of the healing process. Every time I get out there and I get to tell my story, I hear a little bit more, and that's what it is. It's part of the healing process. Also, to receive the love, that's part of the healing process. That's why I don't get mad when people ask for photos, right? Because it's all part of the healing process. It's all part of being accepted. It's all part of being acknowledged, that we are a part of society. It's a part of being welcome.
Now, this is a huge part of your life, so it's probably hard to boil it down to one lesson. But if you had to boil it down to maybe just a couple very important things that not only you learned, but you want society to learn from this experience, can you talk a little bit about what those are?
Some very important lessons. Number one, if you ever find yourself in a situation, do not talk to the police. Know your rights, right? And not just kids, parents too, right? This isn't just a situation where 5 kids got caught up in the system. The parents got caught up in the system also. And so that's one of the things that we advocate, is for even parents to know your rights. Know, if your kid or you get caught up in a situation, ask for help. Don't go in and think you just handle it by yourself, because this playing field isn't leveled. It's lopsided. But we don't know that. We think that as civilians, well, I didn't do nothing wrong. I can go to talk to the police. Nothing's gonna happen, and then it's too late. So it's really about the awareness.
And nearly 20 years later, has anything changed?
It's still about the awareness, because that's what we do now. That's why we sit and we go across the country and we talk to these college students, because the system rather have you occupy a jail cell than occupy a college dorm. And right now they're winning because they're here. And so that reinforcement has to come from somewhere. And that's us. And so we come in here and we tell them they're doing the right thing. Stay on the course. Because the professors are going to tell them that. Counselors are going to tell them that. But for a kid, they're just like, you don't know what you're talking about. They don't want to listen. But when you come and you hear a real story, maybe that resonates different. Maybe it will hit different. And so that's what we try to do.
And that 14-year-old kid you were back then, what do you think he'd think of the person you are now?
I think he'd be proud, right? Right? So I think he'd be proud. And I would have told him, just stay the course. Don't give up. Don't give up.
And we do have some situations in town where the Innocence Project has stepped up. We just had somebody who had been in prison for 13 years for a murder, and they were just released after a new trial just a week or two ago. So when people are in situations like that, where they're exonerated, where they're acquitted with a new trial, do you have any particular advice for them on the steps that they take when they get back into life?
Well, the Innocence Project really has a good handle on it, because they have counselors there. They can try to help them transition back. It's difficult, but they're that force that they can be there for that person. But we went through it. It's hard. It's hard when you have that gap of your life that's been gone. It's taken, and then you have to try to just figure it out on your own. You can't. You need help at the end of the day. And we're talking about, for us, it was 7 years. Corey was 14 years. You have exonerees that have been in prison 30 years. Like, how do you transition him? It's difficult. It takes a village to do that, and no monetary value, no compensation is gonna fulfill that void, And so the only advice we give them is just try to pick your life up as best as you can. That's it. Enjoy the moment, because that's what we had to learn to do. We look at our past to help keep us motivated into our future, but you enjoy every moment while you're doing it. Those are memories.
And I think that covers my questions for you. Is there anything you'd like to add, or anything particularly left out?
You got it.